Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the meeting of the Licence Committee to consider an application to review the club premises certificate of Corfmullen Royal British Legion. The meeting is being live streamed and will be available to view on the council website after the meeting. By attending the meeting, you consent to being filmed. Can I remind everybody that when you are speaking, please speak directly into the microphones so that you can be heard clearly and seen. The Licence Committee is not a public meeting, but a meeting into which the public is invited. All attendees must comply with the ruling of the chair. They must not interrupt the meeting or cause undue disturbance. Those who have made requests to speak on the application must only speak when asked to do so by the chair. I'll invite the attendees of the committee to introduce themselves, starting with...
I'm Councillor Louise Bown. I am member for Radipole Ward, which is in Weymouth.
And I'm Councillor Craig Monks of Bedminster Ward. I know where I was.
And I'm Councillor Sarah Williams from Bridport. I will now invite the officers to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Aileen Powell and I'm Licensing Team Leader and I wrote the report.
And...
Morning, I'm Phil Crowther. I'm the Subcommittee's Legal Advisor.
John Miles, Democratic Services. I'll be taking the minutes for this meeting.
Josh Kennedy, Democratic Services Officer.
And sitting behind Eileen.
I'm Vanessa Gibbard, Environmental Health Officer.
I'm Darren Lorraine, Environmental Health Officer.
Thank you. And now I'll invite the parties and their representatives to introduce themselves. Stop.
I'm Jane Cordner, one of the applicants.
And I'm John Cordner. Good morning, ma'am. I'm Philip Day from Lacey Solicitors, here to represent the Royal British Legion. Also representing the Legion are two of its officers who sit next to me, and that's Steve Liddenster and Jane Cable. And behind is Mr. John Wivey, who is one of those who made representations. He's actually 61 if you're interested, and he's a close neighbour to the Legion and to Mr. and Mrs. Cordner. And sitting immediately behind me is Miss Lynn Seeger, who's here to assist me, but will take no part in the proceedings.
Thank you, everybody. I'll now move on and explain the procedure of the meeting. The licensing officer will be asked to outline the details of the application, followed by the person seeking a review and their representatives will be invited to present their case. The premises licence certificate holder will be then invited to present their case, and following responsible bodies, so Environmental Protection will be invited to address the subcommittee on any relevant representations they may have had. The chair will then ask the person who has made representations, who has already expressed a wish to do so, to address the subcommittee. The subcommittee and other parties will have the opportunity to ask questions of each party presenting their case once that person has presented their case. All parties will be given an opportunity to sum up their case in reverse order. So therefore it will be the representatives, people that made their representatives, the responsible authority, where's missing page? There we go. Premises licence holder, Lost a page.
I don't think so. I think it covered it.
Yeah. Person or bodies seeking a review, and then the licensing officer. Thank you. The chair will ask for legal advisor if all relevant points have been addressed before advising all parties present that the subcommittee will be accompanied by the Democratic Services Officer, and the legal advisor can be called upon to offer legal guidance. The subcommittee's decision will be confirmed in writing within 5 working days, informing those present of a right to appeal to Poole Magistrates Court within 21 days. Right. I think I've done that. Okay, so we now move on to the agenda. The first item on the agenda is to elect a chair. Do we have a proposer?
I propose you, Councillor Williams.
And I'll be very happy to second that.
And do we have any apologies?
An apology for absence was received from Councillor Jane Somper.
And do we have any declarations of interest?
No.
No declarations of interest. Thank you. We'll move on to item 4. I will now ask for licensing team leader to outline the details of the application. Thank you, Eileen.
Thank you, Chair. So this review has been brought on the grounds of persistent noise nuisance caused by music events, sound checks and post-event dispersal at the premises. And the remedy sought was always to attach several conditions to the club premises licence, although it was also promulgated that the licence could be suspended for a period of up to 3 months. I am delighted to say that the solicitors for both parties have been working tirelessly behind the scenes all of last week to try and reach an agreed position on this review. And late on Friday, we were able to publish a set of agreed conditions that both parties had signed and accepted. This was in the second supplementary document on the website and the pack. The agreed position proposes the addition of conditions for a refusals book, a complaint log, contact information being available on the website, dispersal of patrons, notices, monitoring of the outside area and waste collections. They've also agreed that all licensable activities will cease by 2300 apart from New Year's Eve. Also requested are the removal of some current conditions on the licence, which are conditions 14, 16, 21 and 22, as they are now largely irrelevant. This is an agreement between the two main parties. Their advocates are here if they want to say anything further. And the only other parties who notified us of their intention to address you were to be witnesses for both sides. There is one typo in the report at Appendix 5, which contains the responses from the responsible authorities. The police have not responded at all, so it should say no response and not response. The club does make use of temporary event notices for open days. Temporary event notices are a very light touch authorisation that permit members of the public to be admitted to the club and alcohol to be sold to them, as well as the provision of entertainment. They are an entirely separate form of authorisation and are subject to legal limits and restrictions, such as the number of people that can be on the premises at any one time and the number of events that can be held at a premises in 1 year. Only the police and environmental protection may object to TENs, and whilst it is possible, if a TEN covers a venue such with a premises licence or a club premises licence that has conditions on it, to have the conditions added to the TEN, this can only be done if the police or environmental health serve an objection notice. There has been a lot of representation to this review, and everyone who has made a contribution to this case has been sent a notice of hearing. No representations have been withdrawn, and the small number of people who have returned the a small number of people did return notices of attendance to say they wish to be here but not speak. Environmental Protection have made a representation and are here to answer any questions. And we have had, and that's everything I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for the licensing officer?
I don't know.
No. Do you have any questions for the licensing officer? No. Philip, do you have any questions? No. Thank you. We will now move on to Professor Roy Light to present the case for the applicants.
Thank you, Chair. We too are delighted that we've been able to reach this agreement. I don't need to address you in any detail about the case for us. Mr. Day doesn't need to address you about the case for them. We looked at your policy document, which says the Council recognises it's necessary to balance the rights of local residents and others with those wishing to provide licensable activities and those who wish to use such facilities. That's your document paragraph 4.25. And all parties have worked really hard over the last couple of weeks in order to try to get that balance right. And we all feel that we have got that balance right. And we're very pleased to be able to present these conditions to you. We recognise that the club is a valuable social asset. There was no way that we wanted to do anything like close it or take their licence away. It was just limited, as the licensing officer said, to getting the balance right about late night and early morning noise and activities. And we've managed to do that. So it's one of those great days when, I hesitate to say it, but neighbours are going to get on now and work well with this. So unless you've got any questions for me, I would just ask you to approve the application on the basis of the conditions that are in the document, which I won't read them all out to you because we've all been reading them over and over again today for the last couple of days, and we're all very familiar with them. So, yes. So I would ask you then just to incorporate those conditions into the club premises certificate, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll ask fellow councillors if they've got any questions. No, I don't think there's any questions, so okay, Eileen? No, doesn't look like it. So I will now ask for Philip Day to bring the case for the club.
Thank you very much, Ma'am. It's a relief to have been able to eventually reach an agreement. If you've read even half of the papers, you'll understand this has been going on in one way or another for a very long time. I would simply add two things. That the vast majority of the conditions that are agreed are in fact steps that have already been implemented by the club, but this formalises the position and tidies up the licence. The only other thing that I would like specifically to say is that there were a couple of sticking points right up to the 11th hour, and I'm very grateful to your licensing officer, Mrs. Powell, who expressed a view on a particular matter of law and assisted in mediation, as a result of which the last sticking point became unstuck. And we have the document that is here before you. So I commend that to you, but I'm here to answer any questions if you have any, as are the three people here who have indicated that they would be content to speak. They don't wish to speak, but if you have anything you want to know from them, then please just say so or ask.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions?
No, not from me. I think everything that's been put forward has been very thorough, so thank you.
Yeah, I think we've all spent a lot of time reading all the application. Eye strain. But thank you very much. I have no questions. Eileen, do you have any questions? Philip, do you have any, or solicitor, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Chair. Just a few matters that, having looked at the agreement between the parties, I just wanted to check with both parties that they would be happy if we made them. There's nothing of substance, I hope, just some, if you see different language used, that it's not a surprise. So I think some of the conditions refer to to documents being available to authorised officers. I think the term in the Act is authorised person, so we'd be looking to change that. Both have agreed. Second point, and I think the last point, is condition 4, which is about the hours. It strikes me that's not a condition. That should be carried through into the operating hours on the licence itself. So that's how that condition would be. It wouldn't be a condition. It would be a change to the operating hours. And again, Chair, both parties have nodded. Thank you.
Do you have any comments for our solicitor?
The time you've taken on this.
Anything from...
Sorry, just a quick question. I don't want to cause any panic amongst the group that's attended, but it's a question for legal. I know from our perspective as the bench of the subcommittee, obviously when we look at conditions that we may choose or choose not to impose, we have to think about the licensing objectives and any conditions that are reasonable, because we don't want to set anybody up to fail. Are we fairly content with that fail? And I suppose a slight follow on in terms of, I know both parties have agreed to these conditions, but just clarity that it doesn't automatically mean that as part of our considerations we would necessarily agree to them as well.
We consider the conditions to be appropriate and proportionate, and that's in line with the legislation, and also to promote the licensing objectives, in particular the public nuisance licensing objective. I'm sorry, perhaps I should have said that earlier. I took too much for granted. Appropriate and proportionate to promote the public nuisance licensing objective.
Philip, do you have any words for...
Chair, I was just making a note. Okay. So the parties have reached an agreement. You are not bound to follow that agreement. The decision is yours, but you must take the agreement into account. And my advice would be, if you intend to depart from the agreement, either by amending conditions that have been agreed, removing them or adding to them, or making any other change within your powers, that you ask the parties appropriate questions now so that they can respond to any departures you may wish to make from what has been agreed. Thank you, Chair.
I'll now move on to environmental protection. Have you got anything further to say?
No comment.
Okay, thank you very much for attending. I know most of your work was done a few years ago, so but just in case we had any questions for you, but I don't think we do. No. And finally, any person that's made a representation, anybody else have anything to say?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now go on to the summing up. So we'll start with environmental protection. Premises license holder.
It's all been said, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. I will now ask the legal advisor if there's any other, if we've covered all relevant points and have addressed before advising all parties present, that the subcommittee will withdraw to meet to consider its decision in private. The subcommittee will be accompanied by the Democratic Services Officer and the legal advisor. so he can be called upon for legal advice. Philip? No. Okay, thank you. Okay, as I've already said, the subcommittee's decision will be confirmed in writing within 5 working days. And any of you have a right to appeal to Poole Magistrate Court within 21 days, having received that notice. Thank you very much for attending and making this review a lot easier than I thought it was going to be when I started reading the papers. Thank you very much. Item 5, we have no urgent items. Item 6, no exempt business.